Hello, and welcome. My name is Garza Maluis. In my time exploring the natural world, I've come to understand a fundamental truth. Animals, in their own quiet way, have an undeniable knack for stealing the spotlight. They operate on a different rhythm, a different script to our own, and when our two worlds collide, the results can be utterly magical. We spend so much of our lives trying to capture the perfect moment, the planned photograph, the meticulously arranged event. Yet nature often has other ideas. It reminds us that we are merely visitors in its vast and unpredictable theater. Today, we journey into those spontaneous, unscripted moments where wildlife unexpectedly interrupts our human proceedings. From serene landscapes to deeply personal celebrations, these creatures wander into frame, not with malice, but with a simple, untamed curiosity that transforms an ordinary picture into an extraordinary story. We will witness how a simple click of a shutter can capture a fleeting interaction that is both hilarious and heartwarming, a testament to the wild spirit that still thrives all around us, often just out of sight. So, I invite you to join me as we explore these delightful intrusions. We'll see how a solemn ceremony can be upstaged by a four-legged guest, and how a simple portrait can become an interspecies masterpiece. Each story is a small miracle of timing and chance. And be sure to watch until the very end for a truly astonishing photobomb that perfectly captures the breathtaking split-second poetry of the wild. You won't want to miss it. Our first encounter takes us to a quiet park, a place of manicured lawns and ancient trees. Here, a young couple has chosen a particularly scenic spot to mark a pivotal moment in their lives. The scene is set. One partner is down on one knee, a ring presented, a question hanging in the air. The photographer, poised to capture this profound declaration of love, has everything perfectly framed. The light is soft, the background is a gentle blur of green and gold. It is a moment meticulously planned. But nature, it seems, had a co-star in mind. From the branches of a nearby oak, another individual was observing the proceedings with keen interest. A small, eastern gray squirrel, driven by the ceaseless demands of foraging, was going about its own important business. For this squirrel, the world is a complex map of buried treasures and potential threats, and human rituals are merely a temporary feature of its territory. It pays them little mind, its focus entirely on the next meal. As the photographer prepared to take the shot, the squirrel made its move. It wasn't a grand entrance, but a swift, purposeful dash across the foreground. It paused, just for a second, directly in front of the lens. Its body was a tense silhouette, its tail a question mark of fur. The camera's autofocus, for a split second, shifted from the kneeling human to this tiny, furry interloper. It was a moment of pure, unintended comedy. The resulting photograph is a masterpiece of chance. The couple, lost in their own world, are slightly out of focus, their emotional exchange momentarily upstaged. And there, in sharp, perfect detail, is the squirrel. It stands on its hind legs, paws held close to its chest, its dark eyes seeming to stare directly into the camera, as if posing. It holds a nut, its prize, as if presenting a treasure of its own. The couple, initially unaware of their tiny guest, would later see the photograph and erupt in laughter. What was meant to be a solemn, romantic image had been transformed into something far more memorable. The squirrel, having made its accidental contribution to their love story, had already vanished back into the foliage, its quest for acorns far more pressing than the affairs of humans. It had, unwittingly, given them a gift. The photographer had captured not one, but two significant moments: the human promise of a future together, and the wild, instinctual present of a creature living its life. The squirrel's brief appearance served as a charming reminder that even in our most personal moments, we are never truly alone. The wider world, with all its small dramas and comedies, is always unfolding around us. This small creature, in its relentless pursuit of sustenance, had inadvertently created a story that would be told for years to come. The couple's engagement photo was no longer just a picture of them, but a snapshot of a shared world, a moment where their path briefly and beautifully crossed with that of a wild and very hungry neighbor. The squirrel, of course, remains oblivious to its fame. For it, the day was a success not because of a photograph, but because a nut was found and secured. And in that simple, honest act, a moment of profound human significance was made just a little bit more magical, a little bit more real, by the delightful, unscripted chaos of the natural world. We now travel to the coast, where the land meets the boundless ocean. A family, eager to capture a memory of their holiday, has gathered on the sand. The sun is beginning to set, casting a warm, golden light across the scene. They arrange themselves, smiling for the camera set on a tripod, a timer ticking down the seconds. Behind them, the waves gently roll onto the shore. It is a classic family portrait, a scene repeated on beaches across the world. But beneath the shimmering surface of the water, another life stirs. This is the domain of the sea lion, a creature of remarkable intelligence and playful curiosity. With its sleek, powerful body, it navigates the coastal waters with an effortless grace. For this sea lion, the shallows are a place of both hunting and socializing, and the strange, upright figures on the shore are a common, if slightly baffling, sight. As the family held their smiles, waiting for the camera's click, a dark, whiskered head emerged from the surf. It was the sea lion, its large, dark eyes blinking in the late afternoon sun. It wasn't startled or aggressive. It seemed, if anything, intrigued. It bobbed in the gentle waves, its gaze fixed upon the group on the sand. The timing was, in a word, impeccable. Just as the camera shutter opened and closed, the sea lion lifted its head a little higher, its neck arched, striking a pose that seemed almost deliberate. It appeared directly between two of the family members, a perfect, uninvited addition to their group. The flash of the camera captured its glistening skin and the individual whiskers around its snout. It was a portrait of two families, one human, one marine. The sound of the shutter was followed by a moment of confused silence, and then, a wave of laughter. The children pointed, their initial stiff poses forgotten as they dissolved into giggles. The parents, turning to see what had caused the commotion, were met with the sight of the sea lion, which gave a soft bark before dipping back beneath the waves, its cameo complete. The photograph they discovered was a treasure. Their own smiles were genuine, but the unexpected star of the show was undeniably the sea lion. Its sudden appearance had broken the formal tension of the portrait, replacing it with pure, unadulterated joy. The picture was no longer just a memory of a place, but of a specific, magical interaction. This playful pinniped had, for a brief moment, bridged the gap between its world and ours. It reminded the family that the beach was not just a backdrop for their holiday, but a living, breathing ecosystem, home to creatures as curious about us as we are about them. The sea lion sought nothing more than a fleeting glance, a moment of inspection, and in doing so, it transformed a standard family photo into an unforgettable anecdote. The story of their beach trip would now forever include the tale of the friendly sea lion who decided to join their portrait. It's a beautiful illustration of how the wild, when we least expect it, can offer us moments of connection and delight, leaving us with a story far better than the one we had planned to tell. A wedding. It is one of our most sacred and carefully orchestrated ceremonies. Every detail, from the flowers to the vows, is planned with precision. We find ourselves in a clearing in a vast northern forest. The setting is idyllic, surrounded by towering pines and aspens. Guests are seated. An air of quiet anticipation fills the space as the couple stands before the officiant, ready to exchange their vows. But this forest is not merely a venue. It is a territory, a home. And its largest resident, the moose, commands respect. An adult bull moose is a formidable creature, standing over 2 meters tall at the shoulder, weighing more than half a ton. They move through these woods with a quiet, deliberate confidence, their lives governed by the seasons and the search for food, not by human schedules. As the officiant began to speak, a rustling in the nearby trees drew a few scattered glances. The sound was not that of a small bird or a squirrel, but something substantial. Slowly, majestically, a large bull moose emerged from the tree line. It was not in a hurry. It simply ambled into the clearing, its enormous rack of antlers held high, a living crown of bone. A wave of silent, collective shock passed through the guests. This was not in the program. The ceremony paused, all eyes turning from the couple to the magnificent creature that now stood just meters away. The moose, for its part, seemed utterly unfazed by the gathering. It was simply taking a familiar path, one that happened to lead directly through this temporary human assembly. It strolled calmly behind the altar, its immense form dwarfing the wedding party. It paused for a moment, turning its great head to survey the silent, staring crowd. Its breath plumed in the cool air. There was no threat, no aggression, only a serene and powerful presence. It was as if a king were surveying his domain, mildly curious about the strange beings who had gathered within it. The photographer, recovering from the initial surprise, began to click away, capturing this utterly surreal moment. The bride and groom, their faces a mixture of awe and disbelief, simply watched. This was their wedding day, and it was being presided over, it seemed, by the spirit of the forest itself. The moose had become the most unforgettable witness to their union. After a few moments that felt like an eternity, the great animal continued on its way, disappearing as quietly as it had arrived into the woods on the other side of the clearing. A nervous, then joyous laughter broke the silence. The officiant, smiling, remarked that it was surely a sign of a strong and enduring marriage. The ceremony resumed, but the atmosphere had changed forever. The couple now possesses a wedding album unlike any other. Amidst the photos of rings, kisses, and family, there are the breathtaking images of a wild bull moose, a silent, majestic guest of honor. The meticulous planning of their perfect day had been wonderfully, beautifully derailed by a chance encounter, a reminder that we are but a small part of a much grander, wilder world. Our journey now takes us to a place where the lines between human and animal worlds are often blurred. A tourist hotspot in Southeast Asia, famous for its population of long-tailed macaques. These monkeys are, honestly, so intelligent and adaptable, and they've learned that the steady stream of human visitors often means an easy source of food. They're bold, curious, and possess an almost human-like dexterity. A tourist, hoping for a unique selfie with one of the monkeys in the background, approached a particularly photogenic individual perched on a stone wall. He held his camera out, framing the shot, trying to capture both his own smiling face and the seemingly placid primate. He was focused on the screen, composing the perfect image to share with friends back home. But the macaque had other ideas. To this monkey, the small, shiny object in the human's hand was an object of immense curiosity. Was it food? Was it a toy? In the complex social world of macaques, possession is everything. With a speed that is truly astonishing, the monkey lunged forward, not for the tourist, but for the camera itself. Its tiny, deft fingers wrapped around the device, and with a surprising strength, it snatched it from the man's grasp. The tourist, stunned, could only watch as the monkey retreated a few steps, clutching its new prize. It was a heist executed with practiced ease. The monkey, it seems, was no amateur when it comes to appropriating interesting items. What happened next is what elevated this from a simple theft to a global phenomenon. The monkey, perhaps accidentally, turned the camera's lens towards itself. Its finger, or maybe its palm, brushed against the shutter button. The camera, still set to take a photo, obliged. It captured a perfect close-up portrait of the monkey. The resulting image is extraordinary. It's a selfie, but one taken by a non-human. The monkey's face fills the frame, its mouth slightly open in what looks like a grin, revealing its teeth. Its brown eyes stare directly into the lens with a mischievous glint. The lighting is perfect, the focus sharp. It is, by any measure, a fantastic photograph. Eventually, the monkey grew bored of the camera, dropping it to the ground, where the rightful owner could retrieve it. When he checked the photos, he found the incredible self-portrait. The story and the image quickly went viral. It sparked not only amusement, but a complex legal debate about copyright. If an animal takes a photograph, who owns it? This clever macaque, through its audacious act of thievery and accidental artistry, had created a moment of pure internet gold. It's a hilarious reminder of the intelligence and unpredictable nature of our primate cousins. The tourist went looking for a photo of a monkey, but in the end, the monkey took a photo of itself, and in doing so, gave the world a much better story. Deep in the heart of a vast national park, a group of friends have set up camp. They have spent the day hiking, surrounded by the monumental beauty of the wilderness. As evening approaches, they gather for a group photograph to commemorate their adventure. They stand together, arms around each other, a pristine lake and dense forest stretching out behind them. Someone has propped a camera on a rock, set the timer, and run back to join the group. They are aware, of course, that they are in bear country. They have taken all the necessary precautions, storing their food securely, and making noise as they hike. But the forest is vast, and its inhabitants move with a stealth that can defy human senses. The wilderness does not always announce its presence. It simply is. Unseen by the cheerful group, a young black bear has emerged from the woods at the edge of the lake, some distance behind them. It is likely drawn by curiosity, the unfamiliar sounds and smells of the campsite piquing its interest. It stands on its hind legs to get a better view, its nose twitching as it tries to decipher the scene before it. As the campers hold their pose, smiling for the camera they cannot see, the bear does something remarkable. It raises one of its front paws. It is not a gesture of aggression, not a prelude to a charge. It is a simple, fluid motion that, to the human eye, looks exactly like a friendly wave. It is likely a motion of balance, or perhaps a way to test the air, but the visual effect is uncanny. The camera's shutter clicks, capturing the scene in a single, frozen moment. The friends are in the foreground, beaming, completely oblivious. And in the background, standing tall against the backdrop of the lake, is a black bear, its paw raised in a perfect, silent greeting. It is a moment of sublime, unintentional comedy, a postcard from the edge of the wild. It was only later, when reviewing their photos, that the campers made the discovery. The initial reaction was surely one of shock, a jolt of adrenaline at the realization of how close they had been to such a powerful animal. But shock quickly gave way to awe and amusement. There, in their photo, was a bear, seemingly waving at them. The story became the legend of their camping trip. The photograph, a prized possession. It serves as a potent reminder of the unwritten rules of the wilderness. We may feel we are alone, masters of our small campsite, but we are always being watched. The forest has its own residents, and they are often far closer than we imagine. This young bear, in its quiet investigation of the strange visitors in its territory, had given the campers the ultimate souvenir. It was a photo that captured not just their friendship, but their place within a much larger ecosystem. They came for the views, but they left with a story of a friendly wave from a wild and wonderfully photogenic neighbor. News broadcasting, particularly live on location, is a high-pressure endeavor. Every second is accounted for, every word is scripted. We are at a research station in Antarctica, a continent of ice and wind, one of the most remote places on Earth. A news anchor is delivering a serious report on climate change, the stark, white landscape behind him serving as a powerful visual aid. This frozen world, however, is far from empty. It is home to vast colonies of penguins, creatures perfectly adapted to this harsh environment. They are social, curious, and live their lives in a constant flurry of activity. For the penguins of this colony, the strange human settlement and its occasional broadcasts are just another feature of their landscape, no more or less interesting than a large block of ice. As the anchor spoke with gravitas into the camera, a small figure appeared in the background. It was an Adelie penguin. It was not moving with any particular urgency. It simply waddled, with that charming side-to-side gait that is so characteristic of its species. Its path was taking it directly behind the reporter, through the shot. The camera operator and director, watching on their monitors, likely had a moment of panic. Should they reframe the shot? Ignore it? But the penguin continued its journey, oblivious to the broadcast being beamed to millions of homes around the world. It was on a mission of its own, perhaps heading to the sea for food, or returning to its nest. The anchor, a true professional, remained focused on his report, at first unaware of his co-star. But soon, he could hear the faint chuckles from his crew. He glanced over his shoulder and saw the small tuxedoed figure making its way across the ice. A smile broke through his serious demeanor. He couldn't help but acknowledge the interruption. "It seems we have a special guest on our broadcast today," he ad-libbed, a warm laugh in his voice. The penguin, as if on cue, paused for a moment, turned its head towards the camera, and let out a squawk before continuing on its way. The moment was pure, unscripted television magic. The serious report on climate change had been momentarily and delightfully upstaged. The clip, of course, became an instant sensation. The penguin became an unlikely star, a symbol of the resilient and often comical nature of life in the Antarctic. It brought a moment of levity to a serious topic, and in doing so, perhaps drew more attention to the report than the script alone ever could have. This little penguin, going about its daily business, reminded a global audience of what is at stake. It put a face, a charming and waddling face, on the abstract concept of a fragile ecosystem. Its brief, unplanned appearance on live television was a perfect intersection of human affairs and the wild world, a moment of spontaneous joy from the bottom of the earth. A marathon. It is the ultimate test of human endurance. For 26.2 miles, runners push their bodies and minds to the absolute limit. The finish line is a place of profound emotion, exhaustion, relief, and the triumphant culmination of months or even years of training. A photographer is positioned there, ready to capture these powerful moments of human achievement. Our focus is on one runner, approaching the end of her long journey. Her face is a mask of determination and fatigue. The crowd is cheering, the finish line banner is just meters away. This is the moment she has been pushing for, the final seconds of an epic struggle. The photographer raises the camera, framing the shot to capture the runner crossing the line, the clock displaying her final time. The marathon route, however, runs alongside a stretch of parkland, a sliver of green in the urban landscape. This area provides a corridor for local wildlife, a pathway that is usually quiet and undisturbed. For a white-tailed deer living in this park, the noise and commotion of the marathon is an unusual and likely stressful event. Just as the runner was about to cross the finish line, a flash of brown and white exploded from the side of the course. A deer, startled by the crowd, made a desperate leap to cross the road and get back to the safety of the woods. Its trajectory took it directly over the track, right in front of the exhausted runner. It was a moment of pure, breathtaking dynamism. The deer, a picture of grace and power, is captured in mid-air. Its body is fully extended, its legs tucked beneath it, a perfect arc of muscle and bone. It seems to hang in the air for an impossible second, a wild spirit soaring over the asphalt. The runner, her expression instantaneously shifting from exhaustion to utter astonishment, is just behind it. The photographer, reacting on pure instinct, pressed the shutter. The resulting image is one of the most remarkable sports photographs ever taken. It is not just about the runner's achievement, but about the stunning, split-second intersection of two very different worlds, two very different struggles for survival. The runner crossed the line, her personal triumph momentarily overshadowed by the sheer shock of the encounter. The deer, having cleared the road, vanished into the trees, its heart likely pounding as hard as any of the marathoners. The crowd erupted in a mixture of cheers for the runner and gasps of amazement at what they had just witnessed. The photograph tells a story that words can barely capture. It's a story of endurance, of surprise, and of the untamable wildness that can erupt into our lives when we least expect it. The runner had trained to conquer the distance, but she could never have trained for a finish line shared with a leaping deer. This single, incredible image is a testament to the power of timing. The deer's desperate leap and the runner's ultimate moment of triumph, colliding in a fraction of a second to create a memory that is both epic and beautiful. It is the perfect photobomb, a final, stunning example of nature's unscripted and unforgettable artistry. And so, our collection of unscripted moments comes to a close. From the smallest squirrel to the most majestic moose, we've seen how our wild neighbors can turn an ordinary moment into an extraordinary memory. These encounters are more than just funny accidents. They are small, precious connections to the natural world, reminders that we share this planet with a vast and wonderful cast of characters. They remind us to keep our eyes open, for we never know when a bit of wild magic is about to wander into the frame of our own lives. Now, I would love to hear from you. The world is full of these surprising intersections between human and animal life, and I am certain many of you have your own stories to tell. Have you ever had a photo unexpectedly improved by a curious creature? Has an animal ever made a surprise appearance at one of your special events? Please, share your own wildlife surprise stories in the comments below. I look forward to reading about your own unscripted moments with nature. Thank you for joining me on this delightful journey. If you enjoyed these tales of nature's photobombers, please consider subscribing for more explorations into the animal kingdom. We have many more stories to share, filled with the unexpected beauty, humor, and wonder of the wild. Until next time, keep looking for the magic that is all around you.